What if you had an appointment setting script so powerful that you could make $5,000 to $10,000 a month and live anywhere on earth just by taking 5 to 15 minute calls? Well, that's a reality. And in this video, I'm going to break down and explain the exact script that I use to make 6,000 to 8,000 a month as a setter, live full time in Thailand, literally just a couple months after starting. And stick around to the end because I'm going to reveal all the psychological tricks I used to get to that $6,000 to $8,000 a month and really boost me to that level. Without them, I probably wouldn't have gotten to that point. And if you're new here, my name is Tanner. I've spent the last 2 years grinding it out as a setter, making 6,000 to 8,000 a month, and eventually becoming a closer and scaling my income to multiple six figures while traveling the entire world. And now I share my biggest lessons with you guys, so make sure you subscribe. All right, guys, so when it comes to appointment setting, there's a few different parts of the call, right? So there's the opening, there's the challenge, there's the solution awareness, which I'm all going to dive into. This is like the psychological stuff I'm talking about. And I'll break down how to get into it. There's desire, doubt, and there's when you actually book in the call, which is your whole job as an appointment setter, and then potentially even qualifying them, which I will get into here in a bit. This is the same script I give my students that have allowed them, like a lot of my students, to absolutely crush it as appointment setters. So this works incredibly well. So in the beginning, when you do call, of course, this script is specifically for only calling warm leads, right? This script isn't going to work that well if you're doing cold calling or one of something like this. Like this script and this process is only going to work if you're talking to warm leads and people that are already interested, which is what we do and which is what I teach, is to get into companies like that so you can have more fun, make more money, and live anywhere on earth and not have to deal with cold calling. So when it comes to the intro, let's say ring ring, hey, is this John? Hey, is this John? Right, that's actually the first thing that you would say. I just don't have it on here because it's like, obviously, you say, hey, is this XYZ person? So, hey, is this John? Hey, John, this is just Tanner from Closer Launchpad. I saw that you were actually interested in getting help from us, so I just had a few minutes to spare. Thought I'd just reach out and see if I could maybe help, man. How long have you been following influencer for? Right, and obviously, like for the most part, you're going to be appointment setting, or maybe if you are a setter right now, you're probably selling for some sort of influencer or personal brand. But if it's just a company, like a couple of my students are doing like marketing agencies that they're setting for. So in that case, you would just put like company name, like how long have you seen us for, or what stood out to you about our company that made you want to reach out, right? And that's why this works so well with warm leads, because you're like pushing them away and having them come to you and explain to you why they are basically interested, right? So it's different from regular sales. Very, very key, right? And you just ask one of these easy to answer questions to start off because it helps the prospect kind of get into it. It helps build trust, and you're also seeing the main reasons that they were actually interested and the reason they reached out. And so you kind of know what they're looking for just from the moment one. And then from there, you want to get into the challenge / like the pain, right? If there's no challenge, if there's no pain, then there's no sale, right? There's no reason for somebody to buy a product unless it's going to solve a problem and solve pain in their life. So with that being said, we have to help the prospect become aware of the problem or the challenge that they're having in whatever area that we are selling an offer in, right? So let's say for me, like when I was a setter, I was a setter in the investing niche for a super long time. And that's always been my favorite niche. And so like what you could say here, straight after is like, okay, are you currently investing into the stock market? Okay, you're currently investing? Awesome, man. When it comes to your investing right now, what would you say is kind of your biggest challenge, or what's not working at the level you feel like it could be, or that it really should be, right? And they're going to start to tell you things, and that's why I say you need to listen for the problem and probe, right? So if they say, oh, like I don't know what companies to look for, or every time I do a trade, like I just end up losing money, and it's hard for me to actually know when to sell and when to buy, blah 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 blah. Like people will just start telling you stuff. So you need to listen for the main problem, right? The underlying problem of all of it. In this case that I was just saying is like the person just doesn't know what they're doing, right? They don't have the knowledge and they don't have the skill set to succeed as an investor without this knowledge. So you'd want to probe and say, what do you mean when you say you you feel like every time you invest into a stock, like you just lose money. Like, what's going on, right? And then they're giving you specific details, and you're helping them realize the actual problem at hand. Why do you feel like that is happening? You're probing, you're asking open-ended questions to get the prospect to explain their problem more in depth, and then you always want to see how long the problem is been going on for. So, gotcha. So sounds like you've been struggling to really have consistency in your portfolio because you don't have the right knowledge and skill set of what companies to invest into and when to invest into them. So, how long has this problem been going on for? Just this lack of consistency, would you say? Right? Oh, it's been going on for 6 months, right? And that sets us up perfectly for solution awareness. Now that we've isolated the challenge, in this scenario, the challenge is there's inconsistency in the portfolio. They're not actually making any money, and they're risking their money as well because of their lack of knowledge, right? That's the challenge that they're facing. And let's say if our offer is helping people invest into the right companies, which is obviously what I've been a setter and closer on before, giving them the right knowledge, giving them the right companies and the right frameworks to actually do that, then that's solving the challenge. So we want to make sure this challenge is something we can solve, right? And then from there, we want to see what they've actually tried to solve that problem on their own, right? So over the past 6 months that you said this problem's been going on for, I mean, what else have you tried in the past 6 months to actually get that consistency in your portfolio that you're looking for, right? To fix the problem. Okay, so you tried investing into different companies. You tried, like people will just have a bunch of different things they tried. Maybe they tried buying another, course or whatever it may be. You need to ask them how it went, right? I tried this new strategy that I heard on YouTube, and I tried doing that for a little bit. Okay, and how did that go? I mean, it went all right. I still had that lack of consistency. Okay, what would you change about that if you could? Right? So you're helping them kind of separate this from what they did. And then the last question here is, how do you see what we do as different? I don't know how that question wasn't there, but basically once they tell you what they've tried, let's say if they tried this strategy, they've tried this strategy, they tried this course, gotcha. And like, obviously you're coming to us, reaching out to us for help. So, I mean, how do you see what we do as different from all these things you've tried in the past, right? That's the psychological trick. You're pushing them away, having them explain to you why this is different and why this is actually the one thing they need to be able to achieve XYZ results that they want in their mind. Why? Right? Because someone wouldn't be reaching out if they thought that this is going to be the exact same and they were just going to lose all their money again. Right? They're reaching out because they feel like this is going to be different, and you're having them explain that to you, and at the same time, they're selling themselves on why this is different and why they need to actually do this, right? It's absolute sauce. So from there, once you kind of help them realize that, you dive into the goals. So this is kind of something salespeople call future pacing, right? It's like what their life is going to look like or how things are going to look once the problem is solved, right? Once they can figure out the consistency in their portfolio, once they can get into shape, once they can start making $10,000 a month, how their life is going to look, right? And it's going to be different for everything, every different offer out there, like depending on what the offer is, how this is going to look. But no matter what it is, you always want to get a tangible goal. So let's say for fitness, you want to get a goal weight. So like, what weight do you want to get up to if they're trying to build muscle, or what weight do you want to try to get down to, right? If they're trying to lose weight. So you're giving them that tangible goal. You're helping them realize their tangible goal. This could be an income goal or like a return on investment goal. So let's say for like the investing, gotcha, so how much do you want to be making from your portfolio every single month, right? And then whatever they say, like, oh, I want to be making $20,000 a month from my $1 million portfolio every single month. Gotcha. I mean, why do you say $20,000 a month? Sounds like you thought of that number before. Oh, it would allow me to, actually retire. It would allow me to retire my wife. We'd probably just be traveling a lot more. And that would kind of give us the freedom that we're looking for as long as I can get this return from my portfolio that I have, right? Very, very common answer that I would get as a setter in this industry, in this niche. And you're basically getting them to explain how their life is going to look once they achieve that number, right? And then long-term vision, sometimes non-monetary goals is always good to get. But sometimes you'll just get it from this question, and a non-monetary goal is like retire my wife, retire me so we can travel more and have more freedom, right? Those are non-monetary goals. So it's more like how it's going to affect their life, outside of just the money, what the money is going to do. And then from there, like this should be like, this whole script, this whole call should be like 5 to 15 minutes max, right? So you're not having like a whole like podcast over the phone. Like this is a very simple conversation, very natural, boom, boom, boom. And comment down below right now if you want to see me do a role play with maybe one of my students or someone on my team doing this exact script, so you can see what it's actually like in a natural conversation, right? And then from there, doubt is basically a section of the call where you're basically asking them what they actually need help with or what's stopping them from doing that on their own, right? So if it's fitness, the problem is they're out of shape, they lack confidence, and they have health problems, right? That's the problem, that's the challenge. But what do they actually need help with to solve that problem, right? That's doubt, and you're helping them realize that they actually need help, and it's going to be way faster, it's going to be way easier, and they're going to save way more time if they just invest into getting help from, let's say, a fitness coach to design their diet from them, help them do a workout plan, and make a custom plan for them to reach their goals faster compared to doing it on their own. And you're basically having them say that to you, right? And then from there, you want to book them in for a call once you kind of hit all these different things. And you can free flow this, right? You can do like challenge, then you can do desire, then you can do solution awareness. But the way I have it set up is it all flows super nicely. And when it's a conversation, obviously it doesn't feel natural right now because it's just me talking. But if I had a prospect, then it would feel very natural, and it would actually feel like a normal conversation once you get good at this, right? So then when it comes to booking a call, well, John, I mean, based on what you're saying, it might make sense for me to connect you with our head coach, because he'd be able to give you a lot more guidance when it comes to, actually getting that consistency in your portfolio that you are looking for. And even walk you through some of XYZ person, I have my name in here, some of Tanner's training, to see if it could really help you accelerate to that $20,000 a month goal that you said you have for your portfolio. So would you be opposed to that? Oh, no, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Right? And then you book them in, lock them in for a call, make sure they're going to show up, and then that's it. And then as a setter, I mean, you literally just do that. You have simple conversations with people for the company that you're appointment setting for. And then sometimes you can qualify them harder, but this is kind of more like just making sure they have money. But for an example I showed you guys where it's like an investor, he said he has $1 million, like we don't need to qualify him more. Right, so this is a standard appointment setting script that you can use really for any offer, any niche. It's going to work incredibly well. And if you guys want help, probably the biggest thing I help my students with is this hands-on training where I'm reviewing their calls, actually training them on this hands-on, training them to become closers once they make a lot of money with appointment setting. But in order to get to this point where you're using this script, you have to know how to land a position. So if you want my help with that and you want one-on-one coaching to land a good position and learn this skill more in depth, there's going to be a link below. You can watch that video on that page, and then once you watch that video, then you can schedule a call with me to get mentorship. Or you could watch this video that I'm going to pop up on the screen right now, which is it's like my training on how to land a position. So if you're looking for one-on-one mentorship, go down to the link below. If you want to learn right now on YouTube how to land your first remote sales job, click the video on the screen right now, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Hopefully you enjoyed. Peace.